Squishies, back again with another vlog. This is Dirty Pair, episode 17, Come Out, Assassin? Something like that. This was a fun one. Very much didn't go the way I was expecting. Well, in one sense it did. I pegged who the assassin was the minute he showed up, because of course it would be the person they described as very unremarkable and plain looking, because the last thing you want to be when you're an assassin is someone who stands out as like a colorful character, which everyone else on the plane was. That said, it's still, like, overall tone of the thing didn't go the way I was expecting. Basically, the minute they talked about, having to go on this flight, I was like, okay, it's a flight, there's going to be disasters. Immediately, my brain goes to Airplane, which is quite possibly the best comedy film ever made. And that just was not the direction they went. It actually ended up being much more like a closed circle mystery, which I suppose a plane flight is as good a place as any for one of those. I mean, one of the most famous uses a train for much the same purpose. If you're not familiar with the term, a closed circle mystery is one where a crime, usually a murder, happens, and for some reason or another, the detective and all the suspects are trapped together. They cannot leave. So you know that somebody in that group committed the crime. For example, there's a terrible storm and everybody is trapped in this old mansion or whatever, and then therefore, exactly who was present, and therefore exactly what the suspect list is. A plane flight is a useful way of achieving that. Nobody can enter or exit the plane, or in this case spacecraft, while it's in flight. So you have a finite group of suspects that you can work through, and then they can all get colorful characterization. A good movie example of that is, of course, Clue, which is another great comedy movie that uses that closed circle mystery concept, because the board game Clue is a closed circle mystery. So, that said, it was a pretty fun little group of characters. After they killed off the, I can't remember his name, but the really plain-looking guy, I had thought, oh, well, he probably faked his own death, and it'll turn out to be him, because of course it's always the first person to die. But then, as it went on, I started getting more and more suspicious of the boy. I should have known that it was instead that the boy was going to be giving the clue, but, like, the fact that his father was unknown, I was wondering, like, is he actually a child, or is he just very small, and this woman is, like, his cover that he employs? But with the reveal, even though it came from that woman, so I could have been suspicious about it. I don't know, it just rang true to me that, the captain is his father. Captain committing suicide in response is a little, wow. Also, the little random detail flung out there that woman is a drug addict, or was a drug addict. That's, odd. I'm not quite sure what to make of that. But, Dirty Pair has sometimes thrown out random weird bits of, I guess you could call it world building. There's a drug here that people inject into their necks, which, ow. And then, of course, there was the kind of jerk I don't know. I've mixed feelings about that. Trent, was that his name? Bobby Trent, I think, or Bobbin. Bobbin, that was it. He was strange. Like, the bit where he straight up assaults Kay, no, don't do that. She rightfully, like, knocks him off, but don't do that. I get that, Kay definitely was showing real interest in him. And he was interested back. But still, don't do that. Don't assault people. And that led to a really weird vibe at the end when he rescues her. Because, like, they're drifting in space together and he's got his arms around her and, he's saved the day, saved her life. And there's a little bit banter going on. So it's like, it feels a little like the romantic ending, but he assaulted her earlier. And I can't see Kay forgiving that. Excuse me. And if she does, no, that's not how. Do people sometimes forgive other people for that kind of thing? Yes. Do they do it in 20 minutes? For somebody who means nothing to them because they're a complete stranger? That's a little harder to swallow. So, I'm a little about that. But yeah, other than that, this was a solid, competently executed episode. It wasn't that funny. There weren't really many jokes in it at all. But it was a solid little story, and the characters we were presented with were mostly pretty interesting. I think the lawyer was the least interesting. He was just kind of this lawyer that drank. I think the most interesting thing about him is he turned out to have died significantly before. Which actually, that's a thing in this episode. Like, the violence in Dirty Pair is normally played for laughs, but there were just there was like a murder-suicide and a murder and a guy getting killed because the ship fired its engines at him. Like, that feels different. Like, the death toll on this episode was a lot lower than some. Like, they didn't blow up any planets. But it was played more seriously than usual. I don't think we've had a suicide in Dirty Pair before. So yeah, in total, this was kind of darker than they normally go. The result is an action movie. We're not talking, unfathomable depths of darkness here. Taking a Dirty Pair episode and making it a bit darker just basically ends up as a pretty typical action movie. But it's still quite a change of pace from what they usually do. And I don't know, I wonder what the reasoning behind it was. I actually don't know. Like, I know Dirty Pair started as a light novel series, but I don't know how much of it is directly adapting stuff from the light novels versus just using the setting and characters. Is it like the first two seasons of The Slayers where although they kind of changed the orders of events around, they were still pretty much adapting the light novels. Or is it like Sarah's Try, where they basically just went off and did their own thing? I don't know. I'd be curious about that. But yeah, in total, this was a pretty good episode. It was a very different thing from what they normally do, but it was a nice change of pace. Hopefully we'll get back to more classic Dirty Pair shenanigans next time. But yeah. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Patreon. Should be linked on this video for early access to videos, essays, and more. And I will see you all next time. Bye!